For the past few years, I considered myself a completionist. Games that I enjoyed and finished, I would go through and get all of the achievements to fully 100% a game on my profile. Whether that's doing certain objectives that I never would have thought doing if there was an achievement tied to it, or collecting a bunch of collectibles, the drive to fully 100% games consumed me and ultimately was the goal to fully complete the game and move on. I recently hit 100 platinums and I briefly reviewed my trophy list that I realized I never had a good platinum experience. The closest thing to a great platinum experience with Inscription, but that's the only game I recall ever enjoying even when a platinum was looming over me. This revelation dawned on me even further that I ended up realizing I actually dislike a lot of games after getting the platinum. A very good example of my dislike towards a game is The Last of Us Part 1. I deeply enjoyed the story, but when I went for the platinum, it required me to collect all Firefly coins, comic artifacts, training manuals, breaking into every locked door, workbenches, and their respective tools. Saves an extension of all of this, I had to listen to all of Ellie's jokes, engage in all conversations with her, upgrade and break every melee weapon in the game. This was proven to be way too much collecting and endlessly going back and forth between chapter selects and saves to reload them. It was just way too tedious for me, and I ended up really resenting The Last of Us Part 1 even though I really had an enjoyable time with the story. It replaced all of the extremely fun segments that I had with it to just blindly unfun gameplay of following a guide, collecting items until my last moments with the game. That's one example of how trophy hunting can really hurt a gaming experience. I can even recall countless instances of the same thing happening in different games. I envy people who can have fun with a game and play at their own pace without worrying about a missing collectible or even looking at a guide for a missable that could cost them a whole entire playthrough just for a platinum. And that really is the brutal reality of being a completionist. This video isn't meant to be a attack on achievement hunting, but instead an constructive critique on how we view the achievement system as a whole. It is very possible to have a really positive experience with a game that is encouraged by a achievement list, like encouraging another playstyle, but I would be lying to myself if I don't point out how achievement hunting can ruin our experiences of games just by our habits alone. When you play for achievements, the most obvious thing that is apparent just by hunting for them is we are playing less games as a whole. I know that may seem like a well done moment, but compared to someone that plays without achievements in mind, we are actually playing way less games because of achievements and the time and effort of going out of our way to get them. A very good example of a game eating up most of my time is my experience when playing Batman Arkham Knight. Now don't get me wrong, I love Arkham Knight as a game. It came out in 2015 and it looks stunning compared to their peers even today. The combat feels fast and fluid and the story is one of my favorites. But if you ask me what's my most grindiest platinum ever, this would take the cake, and it's only because of one trophy. You have to lock up the Riddler, which seems simple enough, but in order to even get access to the Riddler first, you have to find all 243 Riddler trophies that's littered all over the map, not to mention the riddles that he prompts you to do, which I guess I should have figured he would do judging from his name. But this whole endeavor took me 10 extra hours just to put him in jail and finally get the true ending of the game. Oh yeah, and I also forgot to mention, you have to play the whole entire game again one more time. I love Arkham Knight, I really do, but it was really a time sink that I had to go through to fully 100% the game to even see the true ending of the game. The last memories I had with Arkham Knight was mindlessly checking a guide for all the collectibles and checkmarking trophies that I already collected, which was tedious. The counter argument would be, well, if you knew it would be a massive waste of time, so why would you do it? And I would say, I don't know. I mean, yeah, players are forced to 100% the game just to see the actual ending, but it also goes back to the drive of wanting that precious 100% completion of a game, which, by the way, I put 95 hours into already. I am at 51%. I'm halfway to fully 100%ing it, but I choose not to go after the 100%. The DLC trophies are way harder than the base game and even more time sinkers that I am not willing to engage with. It's all about prioritizing what I want to play. I don't think a trophy should add so many more hours to a platinum. platinum. It taints your perspective of a game judging from what you have to go through just to get the platinum. With all that being said, I still think Arkham Knight is an incredible game, but I just wouldn't want to go through the platinum experience again. Another thing is games take a good amount of time to complete, going from 5 hours to maybe even 70 hours at a time, which is a lot of hours to put aside for a game, so adding achievements into that mix can really extend games for even longer, especially adding poorly designed achievements within said games. That isn't to say games having achievements that extend your playtime is totally a bad thing though. If you really like a certain game, achievements can extend that playtime more if done right, like doing things you wouldn't expect for you to do without achievement. A game I found back in December that does achievements extremely well was a game called Viewfinder. It's a puzzle game that I found was really fun, and the gimmick is you place photos and it appears in the main world. You also have levels that have different ways of taking photos a little bit later that served as a way to copy a picture of what you took, so it could be used as a platform or doubling supplies. It really is an interesting concept that I'm glad I played, and the achievement list accommodated the game by adding achievements that are for the most part a what if moment. Placing a photo while falling and landing on it. Make the maximum amount of batteries and dust drones in a level. Dropping a battery and dust drone off of the level. Breaking your only way out. These are examples that players might have thought about using their imagination and asking what would happen if I did so and so. It's a fun idea and concept that I honestly think more games should experience with what if moments. I personally think those are the best achievements a game can offer. To sweeten the deal even more, the game is fairly short, so for someone who wants something short and sweet, it's a good option for a achievement hunter. I platinumed the game in 5 hours. The difference between these two games' platinum times is day and night, as one respects your time while the other doesn't respect your time. Now, did I enjoy both? Of course. These two are incredible games, and yes, they're very different from each other. I enjoyed my time with Arkham Knight, and I appreciate all its content, and likewise to Viewfinder. But what Viewfinder has over Arkham Knight is that it did really respect my achievement hunting time. I think the easiest thing that anyone can kill any enjoyment from any video game is knowing what happens next. Ignorance is bliss is a saying for that reason. Not knowing about something can lead to greater happiness and less worry about something, which can massively be applied to video games. That's why games felt much better when we was kids. Everything felt magical. We didn't know what went into games because we didn't know anything. It just felt real. When you've been in the gaming space for so long, you start to understand how games are made, how developers uses techniques to make a game feel seamless. And you look at games and in the back of your mind go, I wonder how the developers make that. It kills gaming immersion, but that's something for a different video. Back to the beginning segment of knowing what happens next. When I start any games, even games that I truly want to play, the first thing I always check is trophy guides for video games. Why? So that way I can efficiently get the platinum in a quick enough manner. Playing in a certain way to not waste any time, so that way I could play more. Oh, what am I doing? Why am I trying to look at a guide to find out how long a game is or how many collectibles or missables there are? Isn't the point of games is to have fun? And that is the realization that I am letting a platinum play my games instead of the game letting me play for my platinum. Guides are very helpful, yes, but I think using them for every game versus games you slightly have any desire in playing is a recipe for disaster. If any game is remotely too long or too difficult, it's a skip. If it has too many playthroughs, it's a skip. It's exhausting always going through a pile of games that you're interested in and it has 2 playthroughs or 40 hours and immediately turns you off from the game. It takes the fun out of the game entirely because you're trying to get it done efficiently and quick, and that is the wrong way to go about getting achievements. Although it could also work the other way. Some games have challenging achievements that can be incredibly rewarding to people who, for example, done something fast in the same amount of time and it's a achievement. Like let's say Resident Evil, for example. It always have a speedrun trophy or using X amount of items on the playthrough. From Software games are renowned for being extremely hard, but it can be a massive achievement if you manage to get a platinum for any of them. It should be an extension for enjoying a game a lot. I can name a few games I dropped because of the trophy requirements. So games like Red Dead Redemption 2, any of the Dark Souls games, Shadow of the Colossus, Stellar Blade, Stardew Valley, Metro Exodus, Code Vein, and I guess throw up AI Limits and they are basically the same thing. Days Gone, Balatro, Hollow Knight. You get the idea. To give myself some credit, I have been stepping away from pulling up guides during a first playthrough and just simply starting up the game without pulling anything, and it works wonders for at least being a little bit more immersed into whatever I'm playing. I found that looking up guides during my first playthrough led me to not really enjoying the game because I'm just worried about a missable or a collectible throughout the whole entire thing. Over analyzing every little spot. It sucks because I should be enjoying the game, not worrying if I miss one thing or else it's a whole nother playthrough. The solution I found is instead of trying to get everything in one playthrough, play the game first then start up a second playthrough and quickly speedrun the game and try to get everything. You already know what happens in the story, so you're not really paying attention to that, but instead trying to get all of the achievements in one go. A whole nother thing that also helped me was just coming back to the game more later for the platinum. Just because you started a game doesn't mean that you have to platinum the game that same day or that same week. You could always come back to it in a week or a month or even a year later if you feel comfortable enough to. Or if you enjoy that particular game a lot, then you could obviously go through and try to get the platinum quick. It's just choosing however you want to play. And I think that's the hidden beauty behind it. While doing a little research for this video to see if other people are having the same issues as I am, I came across this Reddit post asking does anybody else like buying games more than playing them. The post details that the user buys games often on sale because the deals are too good to pass up and loves having all the games they could ever want at their disposal. The idea of having a game be added into your backlog feels good until you realize you will probably stuff it deep into your backlog and most likely won't touch it, or you will play it for a bit then quickly drop it afterwards for a brand new game. This isn't an exclusive completionist issue, but it can overlap with it. I experienced this problem many times and I often find myself getting bored and won't even have any fun with the game because I only bought it for a simple platinum that's tied to it. I also find myself strolling through Amazon or the PlayStation Store and looking for a cheap game that I can have, even if I never once even looked at any reviews or anything like that. And it's often not even games that I actually do want, but instead it's just because of an easy platinum. There is a lot of slop on the PSN store that has a platinum tied to it because they know avid achievement hunters will kill at the opportunity to have a very easy platinum for a few bucks. That's how the term shovelware got coined. Sometimes I would find myself going after games that is short and have simple platinums, but I don't enjoy them and instead just slog through it all. It's the mere possibility of another platinum that can be added to my collection that makes me want to get it. I recently had this happen with Sonic Frontiers. It isn't a bad game, I don't think, but the open world nature of it and just so many pipes in the air, I can't quite put my hand on it, but I thought I would enjoy this game more, but I ended up getting really bored each time I played it. The platinum is only estimated to be 25 hours, so I thought I could just knock it out pretty easy, but it just wasn't enjoyable to me. So I dropped the game and replaced it with something else. I also had this issue with Undertale. My girlfriend recommended me to play this often, and the few times that I tried to get into it again and again, I quite literally cannot get into the game. Maybe it's the art style or the battle mechanics of the game, but the game just isn't for me. Although the platinum is very simple and it's pretty short, estimated at 5 hours. The times I did play games for the platinum because it was easy, I usually have a second screen playing a video that turns me off from the game completely and makes me multitask that ultimately leaves me bored with whatever I'm playing. There's a different version of buying games for platinums, which is not buying games if it doesn't include a platinum. This ties into checking the guide to see if there's a platinum first and how obtainable is it second. I had this experience with the first Little Nightmares. It's a game that I do want to play and I know eventually I'm going to get to it, but I feel like I would be wasting time getting trophies that doesn't lead to that shiny blue platinum. In my case, I also think it's why I don't complete DLCs too often, because of the idea that I would be wasting time, not putting any time in getting a new platinum, and I think it's extremely harmful to have that mentality. It's a slippery slope that I think achievement hunters accidentally get themselves caught up in. The idea of wasting time. If you like a game a lot and you're willing to play more of it, then it shouldn't matter how many playthroughs or how difficult it is. You're most likely going to stick it through because you want to spend more time with the game. And that's what achievements are truly for. I want to put never replaying games into its own category because this isn't an only completionist issue. It's estimated that less than 30% of gamers actually run credits on a video game. So to replay a game again even after completing it the first time is almost unheard of, unless you really like a game. So for completionists, I almost guarantee that every person who is a completionist and watching this video almost never replay games you already platinum, because all that time could be going towards another platinum trophy or 100% completion instead, me included. And it's something I'm personally am trying to fix. Either I switch to another account not worrying about a platinum, or I reset my progress on a game on my main account and actually enjoy it since I already have the platinum. Another thing I do want to touch on is not playing other games on different consoles as well. I know this may seem really extreme, and this is probably just my only experience, but I cannot bring myself to play games on my computer or my PS3. I have a good amount of PS3 titles that I want to play, but either the trophies doesn't include a platinum or they have online trophies that is now obtainable since the server shut down. As for the computer sides of things, I have a bunch of modded games that I would like to play. Some games, like for example Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005, I wasn't born around this time period, so I can actually experience this game at its best, but it doesn't have any achievements tied to it and I'm playing for fun. I can't bring myself to play a game due to the fear of wasting time. But I had a revelation. It's no secret that we have a limited amount of time on Earth. We cannot stop time or slow it down, but instead we can embrace, respect, cherish the time that we have on this earth to enjoy the things in our lives. This doesn't have to only apply to gaming, but also our personal relationships and other hobbies. Play what you can and will enjoy. While writing this video, I made this video with a promise to myself that I would enjoy games again, and at the very least slow down on achievement hunting. All the psychological aspects of achievement hunting shouldn't matter if you're just simply enjoying games. If you're struggling with even picking up a game that you truly want to play, but the trophy list is daunting, pick it up. Don't let the trophy list dictate what games are you going to play, but instead focus on the game first, trophies later. It's going to make your life so much more easier. Gaming is supposed to be an enjoyable hobby, and really achievements are supposed to be a bonus for a game you dearly like. It shouldn't feel like a chore to get a platinum or play through a game you don't like. What's the purpose of it? I'm really glad I made this video to hear hopefully other completionist thoughts, but also to wave a white flag that I am going to slow down on achievement hunting, since it's affecting my ability to even sometimes pick up a game that I want to play. For 2026, my goal is to get through my backlog, and I am excited for what games can I finish throughout the year. I feel like I'm enjoying gaming again.